everyone, to another episode of Business Talks. I am your host, Chawanne Burns. In today's episode, we're going to discuss Tulsi Gabbard. She has endorsed Donald Trump. We discussed Donald Trump endorsements yesterday. This is a strategic move for Donald Trump. He's really trying to win this election because he is getting support from all sides. So we'll discuss that. Also, Carmen Carlise, I guess there's going to be a special that dropped or that will drop this later on this evening in regards to her, I guess, calling out Tiffany Henyard and technically becoming a whistleblower for the FBI. So we'll discuss that further into detail. We'll review some of these clips from the last meeting that they had where Carmen Carlise just basically told Tiffany Henyard why she no longer supports her. Okay, so it's not a hidden thing that we don't know already. Carmen Carlise already laid out the facts of why she is not supporting Tiffany Henyard any longer. Also, we have some trouble in Colorado. Colorado is a asylum seeker, I guess a safe haven for asylum seekers, quote unquote. And they have been troubled with Venezuelan gangs, okay? This one particular apartment complex have been taken over by Venezuelan gang. And the politicians and I guess the people, the powers to be in Colorado is trying to blame the complex being shut down because of the people that own the complex are slumlords. But I think it's the opposite. I think the Venezuelan gangs took over this complex and they're afraid to actually conduct business in the complex. Okay, so we'll discuss that further. You guys, this is all on today's episode of Business Talks, so stay tuned.
Something like this. Looks a little bit like I can't miss. Hey, this is what you call a bap. What? This is what you call a bap. Looks a little something like this. Looks a little bit like I can't miss. Hey, this is what you call a bap. What? This is what you call a bap.
You guys put in the chat, let me know where you're viewing from. Please put in the chat, let me know where you are viewing from. Okay, I see we have Muwata is tuning in from Little Rock, Arkansas. Gary Williams, blessings from Los Angeles, California. Celeste Hodges, good afternoon from West Texas. Like I said, you guys put in the chat. It's so great to see you guys, or I guess for you to tune in. I can't literally see you, but thank you for tuning in. We have Dave Singerman from Cocoa Beach, Florida. And so we're going to get started with our first story. I really want to talk about Tulsi Gabbard, or am I pronouncing her last name Gabbard or Gabbard? Anyway, she endorsed Trump last night. Okay, last night she endorsed Trump. Actually, her and Donald Trump, they went to pay their respects to the 13 individuals that lost their lives. And when they tried to pull them out Afghanistan, this was under Joe Biden's administration. They said it was a debacle because these 13 people shouldn't have lost their lives. But I don't know. I guess the Taliban or whoever got, or ISIS got word that they were leaving. And so they launched a strike into these areas where they were pulling out these soldiers out, and 14 individuals lost their lives. So we just really want to pay their respect to them. Anywho, so yesterday they were at this memorial site paying their respects, and Tulsi Gabbard was mentioning that, you know, she really admired Donald Trump for, number one, being there, because Joe Biden was, I guess, he's on vacation right now. I'm not for sure what Joe Biden is doing. He is the president still, though. Joe Biden is our president still, but we don't know what he's doing. He's hiding in a bunker somewhere or on the beach somewhere, laying out in the sand, while Donald Trump is filling in for the presidential duties. You know, your girl Kamala Harris, she didn't bother to show up for the 13 individuals that lost their lives for our freedom, literally. You know, people that sign up for the cause and believe in the cause to protect the American people, and these 14 individuals lost their lives. And due to the fact that our government said, hey, we needed to be over there, or now we need to pull you out. Okay. So anyway, Kamala wasn't there as either. So she was explaining that she really admired President Trump for showing up to this memorial site. Now we're going to view that in just a moment. And then I have another video where they were saying that Donald Trump he actually named RFK Jr. and Tulsi Gabbard or Gabbard to his transitional team from, leading into the White House. Okay, so this is Tulsi speaking. Let me just pull it up. This is Tulsi. She is actually announcing her support. One thing about Tulsi, she is a veteran. Okay, she's a military vet, and she's been a Democrat for 20 years. This is the same woman that made Kamala Harris quit her campaign. Okay, I say she's the same woman because that debate in 2020, or I guess it was 2019, whatever that was, in January 2020, on the debate stage, Tulsi ran Kamala Harris over in that debate. Anyway, so this is the same woman.
It is a privilege to be here with all of you, my brothers and sisters in uniform, especially on this day of all days. I had the privilege of joining President Trump this morning at Arlington Cemetery, where he joined two Gold Star families and loved ones of Staff Sergeant Hoover and Sergeant G, both of whom were two of the 13 killed in the Abbey Gate attack 3 years ago today in Kabul. And I can tell you, as we were there, as he laid a wreath at the tomb of the unknown soldier, joining these Marines' loved ones, I felt the sorrow that he shared with them in their loss. I felt and saw his sincere appreciation for these servicemen and women who paid the ultimate price, and their loved ones who continue to grieve to this day. This is personal for me, as I know it is for so many of you here. This is real. It's not just words. I first deployed to Iraq in 2005 with the Hawaii Army National Guard as a member of Charlie Med. As those of you who were deployed during that time know, it was the height of the war, and sadly, we took many casualties. And every day we were confronted with that high human cost of war, and that sadness as we boarded the plane when we left, that we were leaving some of our brothers and sisters behind, only to lose others when we got home to suicide. So I mean what I say when I share with you that I know that President Trump understands the grave responsibility that a president and commander-in-chief bears for every single one of our lives. Whether you're a soldier, you're an airman, a Marine, sailor, or a coastie, he keeps us in his heart in the decisions that he makes. We saw this through his first term in the presidency, when he not only didn't start any new wars, he took action to de-escalate and prevent wars. He exercised the courage that we expect from our commander-in-chief in exhausting all measures of diplomacy, having the courage to meet with adversaries, dictators, allies, and partners alike in the pursuit of peace, seeing war as a last resort. The truth is, as we head towards our decision as a country in November, the same cannot be said about Kamala Harris. In fact, the opposite is true, and we're living through this reality today as this administration has us facing multiple wars on multiple fronts and regions around the world, and closer to the brink of nuclear war than we ever have been before. This is one of the main reasons why I'm committed to doing all that I can to send President Trump back to the White House, where he can once again serve us as our commander-in-chief. Because I am confident that his first task will be to do the work to walk us back from the brink of war. We cannot be prosperous unless we are at peace. And we can't live free as long as we have a government that is retaliating against its political opponents and undermining our civil liberties, weaponizing our very institutions against those they deem as a threat. Kamala Harris has done this over the last 3.5 years. She won't hesitate to continue that if she is elected as president. President Trump has been their first and foremost target in this because they don't want us as voters to even have the option to vote for him. I've been their most recent target, added to a secret domestic terror watch list after exposing the truth about what kind of dangers we would face if Kamala Harris is elected as president. We as Americans must stand together to reject this anti-freedom culture of political retaliation and abuse of power. We can't allow our country to be destroyed by politicians who will put their own power ahead of the interests of the American people, our freedom, and our future. I am proud to stand here before you today, whether you're a Democrat, a Republican, or an independent. If you love our country, as I do, if you cherish peace and freedom as we do, I invite you to join me in doing all that we can to save our country and elect President Donald J. Trump and send him back to the White House to do the tough work of saving our country and serving the people. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Donald Trump, he is gaining support or being endorsed from all sides of the aisle. I think it truly says something about Kamala Harris' leadership and her style of leadership. Only because you have Kamala Harris, she has gained support. I think I heard Mitt Romney, George Bush, some of his aides, and different people like that, but nobody that's really relevant in today's space that's really talking about Kamala Harris. I'm saying in politics, no front runners in the political space, but Kamala Harris, she does have some type of star support behind her. We saw, Beyonce, she donated $4 million. I don't think, what's the other girl name? Shake It Off girl? What's her name? I forget what her name is. But anyway, Taylor Swift. I don't think Taylor Swift, she actually came out and endorsed Kamala Harris. But I know she was a big, strong supporter of Joe Biden. And I know she doesn't like Donald Trump. But who cares if they have the stars? What the Republicans, they have to keep this momentum up. They need to garner the support of all sides, number one. And then they need to make sure that their alliance that they had on this path and not try to jump off the bandwagon and start really name calling Kamala Harris, going into that like really petty stuff. I think it will detract from what the real issues and the real policies are. Okay. I think if Donald Trump stays focused on policies and what the pain points of Americans are, he will win the election. Okay. So just to let you hear what MSNBC is saying in regards to this endorsement, their MSNBC is saying Trump names RFK Jr. and Tulsi Gabbard to transition team. Okay, this is I think his name is Von Hiller talking about it.
These are both one-time Democrats. Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who endorsed Donald Trump on Friday last week, is now going to be a part of the transition team for Donald Trump. Tulsi Gabbard is also going to be a part of the transition team for Donald Trump. This is according to the Trump campaign themselves. Of course, these are both one-time Democrats who have really curried favor with the right-wing media and Donald Trump, right? Tulsi Gabbard, let's be very clear, she's spoken at CPAC before. She was on the campaign trail in 2022 with the likes of Carrie Lake. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. just yesterday was on X tweeting about chemtrails and saying that chemtrails should be a crime. And so this is part of, for Donald Trump, his effort to build a coalition. Now, I think a lot of folks are understanding that this is a very specific coalition that he's trying to build, and it is one that really placates the far right, because these are individuals, Tulsi Gabbard, who has, you know, at the outset of the war in Ukraine, laid blame at the feet of the United States for putting Russia in the position to defend itself by trying to expand NATO, that Russia inherently needed to do what it could to defend itself against potential Ukraine or NATO advancement. So those are the members that are officially going to be.
I hate when they use the word far right. I don't look to see as Donald Trump as far right. Does he has far right supporters? I believe so. Does Kamala Harris, is she far left? Yeah, exactly. She's absolutely extreme left. Okay, but they don't use those terminology when they describe Kamala Harris. It's kind of wild to me, because all her policies points to socialism, actually communism. She has communistic policies that she's trying to put forth to the American people. Anywho, far left, if you're saying that she's a far left supporter, I gotta disagree with that. We know she's a Democrat, but she is an original Democrat. Democrats originally were like in the middle, because I was one of them. I was in the middle. And sometimes I will vote Republican depending on the issues. But right now I'm just straight. I guess you could call me Republican. I'm not registered as a Republican, but you could literally say my views. I will be the, I guess, extreme right type of person. A person that believes in God. that's the extreme. The extreme right that they're talking about is a person that believes in God. Anyway, I don't want to go off on a tangent, talk about that. But this is MSNBC. But the point of me playing this video is to tell you guys that, yeah, Donald Trump is being strategic about building his team, building his alliances. And because whoever has Donald Trump ear is very smart, they're looking to see, hey, we're not just going to win the election with just Republicans and conservatives or extreme right people, I guess. We need to garner support. We need to get that independent voter and those middle of the road Democrats. Those are the people, or the undecided people. We need to get those people over to our side and at the poll, so we could win this election. And I truly believe America is at stake in this election. I mean, I hate to sound loom and doom, but I truly believe that, because right now we're at a brink of another war. We're involved in two wars, even though we don't we do have military people on the ground in Ukraine. They're not talking about it, but we do have people over there. But we're involved in two conflicts, and then we don't know what's going to happen in the next few months. And if Kamala is the president, we know we will go into another war under Kamala Harris because she has little to no negotiation skills. Anyway, that was that. Okay, so that's Donald Trump. He's gaining support. Okay, so my next story, you guys put in the chat, let me know what you think about that. Let me get to some of these your comments. Monica said, my son went to NC National Guard when Tampon Chicken out. Tampon Timmy Chicken out. Cool as ice. Yup. Shady eyeline, bland wig, couch Vance didn't serve in NC either. JD Vance did serve in the military. He did 2 tours. So I don't know what you're talking about. Tulsi Gabbard and RFK don't matter. Democrats got over 200 former Bush Mitt Romney Cain workers. Yeah, that's what I was mentioning earlier. Kamala Harris did receive support from, I guess, their top aides from their camp. Does it matter? I don't know. We don't know these people. Who cares? But if George Bush and Mitt Romney is saying, hey, I'm supporting Kamala Harris, I don't know if they came out and say I'm supporting Kamala Harris, but if they did say, hey, I'm supporting Kamala Harris, I'm pretty sure they will garner more support. Okay. Or Kamala Harris. LJ said no one wants communism. Educated people don't need celebrities. Exactly. Trump, Obama 80 said Trump 2024. Dave is saying Monica Hathaway, and yet Trump is a draft dodger and not a single member of his family served in the military. Imagine that. Yeah, imagine that. I wonder how they could get out serving the military. I don't know. Maybe it's a story that we need to dive into. I'm not for sure. Monica is saying cool as ice. JD did serve in the military. Yeah, I just mentioned that. Dave, I wonder how many dams low key hate Kamala Tate. Monica said Kennedy will help Trump help your kids with serious diseases. LJ is saying socialism is a polite word for communism. Exactly. Socialism is the gateway to communism. Dave, never in my life I ever would have thought about thinking to vote for Trump. And now it got you thinking, right? It's a weird time. It's a weird time that I wouldn't say Donald Trump did a terrible job in 2016 when he was elected, in his term. I don't think he did a terrible job. I think he actually did a pretty good job. I really feel that Donald Trump, what really kind of tarnished his image at the time when he was in office was the media. I think someone should have took his phone and he needed to stop tweeting. Everything he was tweeting, he shouldn't have did that. And I think, of course, the media played a big part of tarnishing or branding Donald Trump as a crazy person and a racist. And we clearly know, if you're my age, in the 80s and 90s, Donald Trump is not a racist. We already know that. But for some reason, people older than us, and older than, or younger, they have this thing that Donald Trump is a racist. My sister, I have a sister, she's a year older than I am, and she thinks Donald Trump is a racist. And I'm like, you grew up in the same era that Donald Trump was cool with everybody. All the black people. All the who's who black people Donald Trump was cool with. So how can you say he's a racist? I just don't get that. Anyway, Monica is saying Harris wants government to run the food and healthcare. That's communism. That's communism. Dave Singerman said, Dave, then don't vote for Trump. I'm not going to tell you who to vote for. I know who I'm voting for. Everybody knows that follow my channel. They know I'm voting for Trump. I'm sorry. I'm voting for Trump. You get mad at me if you want to, but I'm voting for Trump. I can't see in my lifetime vote for Kamala Harris. I can't see it. I don't think she is the woman for the job. Now, if I don't know. If anybody was placed against Donald Trump, I think I still will be voting for Donald Trump. I'm sorry. Anyway, you could take it how you want it, but that's my own personal opinion. Personal prosperity is what's important. People shouldn't look to any president to be their moral compass. Exactly. You should already have one. You should already have a moral compass. You're like, oh, here's our moral compass. Like he's the savior. No, he's running for a job, and hopefully he does the job. Same as Kamala Harris. She's running for a position. We discussed this yesterday. And hopefully she does the position if they are elected. Whoever's elected in that position, hopefully they fulfill their duties as the president of the United States. Right now, Joe Biden's not fulfilling his end of the bargain. People elected him in office, and we don't know where Joe Biden is at. It's kind of weird. Where's Joe Biden? They're not talking about him in the media or nothing. And they hardly even talk about Kamala Harris. If they talking about Kamala Harris, they talking about how bad Donald Trump is. So I'm really confused about this. This is really weird how they're the media is playing it. Anyway, so let's get to our next story. This is about Colorado. Colorado is in some trouble. Okay, Colorado is in some trouble. Okay, they're saying migrant gang violence spills to Colorado suburbs.
It's suburbs. John Fabricatore is a retired ICE field director running for Congress in that Colorado district, and he joins me now. John, to be clear, Denver is the city. They voted for these sanctuary city policies, but it is a suburb, Aurora, that has to deal with them. How bad is Aurora right now?
The situation's really starting to get bad. Sanctuary jurisdiction protects criminals and not U.S. citizens. And the real issue here is that there's a huge increase in violence in these areas in Aurora where these newly arrived foreign-born migrants, many of whom are Venezuelan, have started to grow. And I think the public's just concerned that if this issue isn't stopped now, it will get worse. And many people in Aurora and the surrounding communities just want to be told the truth.
Denver has welcomed over 42,000 migrants, costing the city more than $72 million. One of these guys from Tren de Aragua, he's a gang leader. He's called the Cookie Monster because his name somewhat translates to cookie in Spanish, but he has quite the rap sheet: assault, shooting. Yet he and his gang have been able to somehow seize multiple apartment complexes, not one building, but complexes, like the entire thing, to run their crime ring. How does that happen, John?
It really happens because
our government allowed it to happen. Okay, we're having problems at complex, blah, 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 blah. And then the police probably never showed, Denver, Colorado. I'm not for sure about that suburb, but that's one of the places where they're talking about taking away police. They want to do community policing, which is nothing wrong with community policing. But when I think of community policing, I think of we hire cops that lives in our community, not full-on community policing, because you're saying, hey, we don't want no police. But anyway, this is Denver, Colorado. Okay, so I'm calling 911. I need help. Where are you located? and they tell their location, oh, we ain't going over there. We ain't going over there. So the police don't show up. Or they don't have enough police. Or they showed up one time or two and they was met with such vitriol from these Venezuelan gangs that it's gotten out of control. And it's one of those spots like, hey, we don't come over. You know how they do in really hoodish spots, some spots in certain neighborhoods, that the gang violence is so out of control, the cops just like, oh, let them kill each other. Then we show up to collect the bodies. Then they'll call us, oh, we got a dead body, it's stinking. Okay, then we'll come and process the crime scene or whatever's left of the crime scene. That's how that happens. They're letting them just take over. Venezuelans, I'm just going to call them the N-word. These N-words, they acting like a bunch of animals. So we just going to let them do whatever. Let them kill themselves. Oh, if you still over there, too bad. You need to find somewhere else to live. That's how that happens.
I think a lot of the city leaders are just complicit. They're allowing this sanctuary just to come into these areas, and they don't want to push back against it. You know, sanctuary policy is a state policy here in Colorado. Aurora itself, through the Aurora City Council, has kind of pushed back on it, but we're still seeing a lot of leaders try to ignore it and not let the public know exactly what's going on. You know, these many of these are not average asylum seekers that are coming in. Many of them cannot even claim asylum. And, you know, unfortunately, there is this mix of criminal element which contains groups like the transnational criminal organization Tren de Aragua.
It's unbelievable. What's your message to those who live in suburbs, not just in Colorado, but in all 50 states, who think that the Biden-Harris open border policy, if you will, is really only contained to those sanctuary cities? And if I'm living in a suburb, I don't have to deal with it. What's your message to them, John?
Yeah, it's not. The Biden-Harris administration is complicit in having allowed our borders just be in chaos. They've allowed this criminal element in. You know, as taxpayers, you have to keep pushing back. You have to say, you know, we're not going to accept this. We just want to know the truth. We deserve our communities to be safe, and we deserve for the border to be secure.
What I love about this, and love, I mean in an ironic sense, his home country of Venezuela will not accept U.S. deportations. And why is that? Is because so many of the people that Venezuela sends us are criminals. They don't want those criminals back. Donald Trump has vowed to send them back somewhere out of the country if he's reelected. I think that's a pretty interesting choice for the American people. Quite a contrast if you're the voter.
It's funny how Venezuela said, no, we're not going to accept any of those people that cross your border. We don't want them back. They're over there for a reason. We opened up our prisons so they could be your problem, not our problem anymore. Okay. One thing I want to point out with this Venezuelan gang, let me see if this is it. They're politicians in Colorado. Okay, we know they could seek asylum or whatever, and it's like a safe haven for asylum seekers, so they do not cooperate with ICE. That's what that means. If you're in a what do they call, a safe haven city or state, that means your city does not cooperate with ICE. That means if the illegal gets caught up in a crime or something like that, they don't call ICE. They just, they go through a regular process like they're a normal citizen or an American. So then they do the crime and they release them back out on the street. So the problem is with this, the lawmakers, and I wouldn't say Aurora because they already said that they've been pushing back against Denver. Aurora or Denver is saying, hey, this is what our rules are, and we don't want to blame the Venezuelans on the complex being shut down. We're blaming the people that own the complex. They're blaming the people that own the complex for being shut down. Because they're saying that they had 18 violations or something like that. Anyway, let me just read some of this. On July the 28th, as many as 4,000 cars descended on the parking lots of Gardens of Havana Shopping Center in West Aurora, apparently to celebrate what at the time looked like a political demise of Venezuela President Nicolas Maduro. Okay, so they're in America celebrating, I guess, their freedom from the once dictator. Okay, why didn't you stay over there? You had nothing to do with it. This is America. Why are you celebrating your liberation over in America? So that happened. And it says some city council members painted the July 28th Aurora event as a violent, criminal, and destructive. Okay. A few days later, the owner of the Northwest apartment complex and his public relations agents told the media that the Venezuela gang has effectively taken over his 99-unit complex. City officials countered the claim, saying the complex is slated for foreclosure next week, more than 2 years of neglect and mismanagement. Well, we've been having this migrant issue for about 3 years, or no, we could say 2 years, because that's when Title 42 expired about 2 years ago. Okay, so yeah, so they're saying, hey, it's been mismanaged, creating a bevy of public safety and health violations that has left the complex uninhabitable. If I'm renting out to Venezuelan gang members and I show up, or my guys show up to fix the plumbing, fix whatever, and I'm met with guns or violence, they're robbing my truck, how can I get my people or the maintenance guy to service the apartment complex? So then you, number one, you're going to have a labor shortage. Then you're going to tell your boss, no, screw you. I'm not going over there, because last time I went over there, they whooped my ass or they robbed my truck. I don't got no materials in my truck because they robbed it, or such and such happened. So so the complex is blaming the Venezuelan gang, and the government has said, oh, no, you've been having this problem for the last 2 years. Yeah, I've been having this problem for the last 2 years because of these Venezuelans been here for the last 2 years. Does anyone else think this is insane? This is insane. So none of us buy that story that this is based off a code enforcement violation. This is from a council member, Jurinsky, said at the end of the committee meeting, referring to herself as a fellow council members. The three of us believe there is a huge gang problem. While the city officials have provided extensive city and court records documenting hundreds of unsafe living conditions and police calls to the building. Okay, we have police being called to the building. Okay, so you know that it's violent. Something is wrong if we have hundreds of unsafe conditions and hundreds of police calls to this specific apartment complex. Well, you know I'm not lying. The gangs are taking over. Why else would the police come there? They arguing over what? What are they arguing over? Domestic violence. Okay, there's domestic violence. Okay, take that out of it. Okay, what else would you have a problem? And why hundreds of calls to a 99 building? I've been here over in the suburbs for 10, almost, no, about 11 years. Actually, 11 years now. I could count on maybe one hand that the police was called. And one time I called them myself. It wasn't because of no violence. I just had to make a report. But one hand that on my one hand, and I've been over here 11 years. And that's the total of this whole block. I could just say this whole complex. I'm not for sure what's going on the other side of the complex, but this whole complex. So you're talking about 99 families, we could say families, that inhabits this apartment complex, and they're having hundreds of police calls a year. Nobody sees a problem with that. That is, you're trying to make a normalized deviance. That is not normal. This is not normal behavior. Listen to this. Kaufman distanced himself from the insurgents, saying that he was confident that TDA gangs were present in the metro area, but that the history of the safety violations at the embattled complex was well established, and that the police have not made clear what crimes at the complex were gang related. The problem is Kaufman, whoever Kaufman is, he sounds like an idiot. The problems go way back. He pushed back against the claim by Jurinsky and Hancock that the flash mob event at the Gardens of Havana was a test by the Venezuelan immigrants to schemes to repeat similar episodes in Aurora. It is. They testing the waters. Okay, so let's see how they act. We gonna fuck this shit up. Excuse my language. Listen, we gonna fuck this shit up. This is a smaller one. Let's see what we could get away with. We already took over the complex. We gonna fuck this strip mall up. And now we gonna see. We testing the waters. Let's see if we can go someplace bigger. Maybe next time they'll target the police department or the police headquarters downtown. Kaufman says it's a one-off. It's a one-off scenario. Whoever called me, I wish I would have known. I got to get this guy's picture, or maybe woman. Oh no, it's a he. It's a one-off. Kaufman said. He said the mob appeared to be caused by early news about the Maduro election by unruly and unrelated people, not an event planned by an organization or gangs. This guy, you could tell this guy is extreme liberal. Because he'll be like, oh, these are good people. These are such good people. And some Venezuelan will go, stick them up. Stick them up. Pistol whoop them. Oh, you want my wallet, sir? Here it is. No, these are gang members. These are gang members. I don't know if you guys ever watched, how they be running across the border. And this is in Texas when, they run across the border. You never see like women and children. These are military age men that's running across the border. This is the villains. They made their way up to Denver, Colorado, this Venezuelan gang, and they took over this complex. And it says Aurora Police Deputy Chief Chris Jewell said police were certain that the immigrants associated with the TDA gangs are present in the metro area, but the extent of the involvement in the local crime is under investigation. We're working diligently on that, Jewell said. An internal police task force has been created to focus on the issue. We are learning a lot about this community. Yeah, you got to get somebody to speak the language, number one. And then number two, you just need to deport their ass. Stop protecting people that want to do harm to your American citizens and kill whoever invested into that complex. They killing their American dream. They're killing their American dream. Now their complex is about to get closed. the complex is probably not paid off. I wish I had the address. Maybe I'll look up the address to see who owns the complex. But come on now. Oh yeah, they do have the address, so I'll look it up later. Anyway, they said they face evictions next week. They actually, this was a week ago, so they probably already face evictions. So now you created another problem. Now you have homeless gang Venezuelans running the streets or roaming the streets. What do you think they're going to be doing? It's not wintertime yet, so it's probably they could find a bridge somewhere, set up camp. But Venezuela weather is not the same as Colorado. It's going to be cold. What do you think they're going to be doing in the near future? Robbing, killing, and stealing. Breaking in, squatting in people's homes. So that's another problem that they cause with these illegal immigrants. They're not migrants. They're illegal immigrants. Illegal aliens. Okay. Anyway, so that's that. You guys put in the chat. Let me know what you think. D-Day says the migrants completely are taking over Chicago, and what is Brandon doing for his people? But we're yapping about Trump. These are all results of Biden failed policies. Biden failed policies. James Dix, you don't believe there are good people on both extremes, and you claim to support Trump. I don't know what you're talking about. You support his biases and close your eyes to abhorrent existence. Okay, James, you have a right to your own personal opinion. I think there's some extremes on both sides, and I think there's good people on both sides. That don't mean I need to support their policies. Who says Kamala Harris is good? Who says that? I mean, whose eyes? Kamala Harris, she's a Marxist. She was raised by a Marxist professor. Is that a good thing? No, I don't think so. Does Kamala Harris have a moral compass? Anytime you let a person sit in jail knowingly, you have evidence to overturn his conviction, and you just ignore it, and people have to force you to release the evidence, and the guy was on death row or like he was serving a life sentence. Is that a good person? Guys, tell me. Put it in the chat. Put a 1 in the chat. Is that a good person? You know you have this evidence. You have this evidence to say, hey, this man is not guilty. And you convicted him. And he's serving life in prison or possibly death row sentence. And to save face, your reputation, you gonna put the evidence under the rug because you want to run for Senate someday. That's like, come on now. Is that a good person? Or is it a good person that you have 1,200 or 1,300 cases of drug cases, right? And one of the people in the lab, crime lab, had a drug problem and effectively contaminated or ruined the case of these 1,300 drug cases. So you have to let 1,300 drug people free because you didn't want to come out and fire this lady and you knew this lady was wrong. Is that a good person? Is that a good person when you sleep with somebody else's man? Is that a good person? No. Okay. Anyway, I'm just putting stuff out there. You guys, let me know. Let me know what you think. I didn't put a name attached to it. I'm just asking you. Is when a person sleeps with another woman's husband, is she considered a good person? Just asking for a friend. Somebody tell me. LJ said Willie Brown enjoyed it. Yeah, Willie Brown did enjoy his fun with Kamala. He was 60 and she was 29. Even the police and the media were saying that the CP5 were guilty at the time. A lot of people were thinking that those boys that was convicted in New York were guilty, because the media does change the opinions of their viewers. Okay, the police changed the viewers. You know how they released the press conference on those people, and they basically forced them to confess. Okay, so what else would you say about that? And I still don't hold nothing against Donald Trump, even if he said, yeah, they should get the death penalty for raping a girl. I don't hold nothing against Donald Trump because, number one, he wasn't in office. And number two, the media and the police department said, hey, we have confessions of these 5 individuals. Central Park 5, that's what they're called. Central Park 5 individuals. And what more could you say about that? I mean, we trying to act like Donald Trump is, some type of alien. No, he's a human being, just like you and I. He wakes up, put one leg in at a time on, when he puts his pants on. He sleeps, He's a human being, just like everybody else. Anyway, so he had the right to say what he said. James Dick said Trump still thinks that they're guilty. I'm not for sure about that. I'm not for sure. LJ, get out of people's bedroom and vote on policies. These are distractions. Yeah. And yet Trump told his nephew to let his sick kid die and then go to Florida. I'm not for sure about these things. Hello, H. Spag. How are you? Anyway, so our next story for the hour. Your girl. I just want to play this clip. Your girl is, speaking out, and I'm saying your girl. Tiffany Henyard is mad at Carmen Carlise because Carmen Carlise was an ally for Tiffany Henyard. I believe Tiffany Henyard was able to get Carmen Carlise elected to this trustee position, and Tiffany Henyard was trying to think strategically. So how can she get her way every single time? So I have to get people in these seats that will vote my way, vote my agenda. And as soon as the FBI stepped in, that's once reality is no longer. Now we have Carmen Carlise. I guess she's being so-called the whistleblower because of Tiffany Henyard. And I think it would have been a little bit different if Tiffany Henyard wasn't so shady. Tiffany Henyard is a shady person. She really would throw anybody under the bus to save her own skin. This is an exchange between Tiffany Henyard and Carmen Carlise on this last meeting.
I have requested the information. So a lot of times we get a lot of bills, and there's no organization, there's no structure, and I've asked if there could be a way to separate everything out one by department so we can see exactly where the expenditure came from, and then I asked for it to be separated out by credit card and then what needs to be paid, and it just makes it easier for us to be able to identify what department spent it. And I've even asked for every department head to submit a monthly reoccurring list of their bills so we can easily identify departmental needs. But again, we're trying to do things to make this an easier process, a more understood process where we won't have more questions. And then two, we even asked for there to be some kind of communication saying, hey, this expenditure is coming up, we're going to be doing this, and just communicate with the board so when we get here, we don't have 1,000 questions because we have actually communicated through email or whatever, text, some kind of, conversation where you can go back and, kind of just see what was said. But again, we've asked for this information to be sent in an organized way, and we don't get it that way. And it's very hard to understand, all the bills. And so sometimes we get invoices, but those invoices lead to more questions. And sometimes we don't get questions, answers to those questions. And so it's not about clickbait. It's about just making sure the right thing is being done. And we have information to make informed decisions. That's all it's about. There's a lot going on in the atmosphere, and we have a duty to make sure that things are held accountable. It's our job to make sure things are accountable and transparent.
And because at the end of the day, you was on this board, we're never talking like this, right? So you should have been putting this same energy in play when you weren't saying a word a year ago, some months ago. And when it goes to the administration's needs, they need everything that they put on their list, their warrant list, their bills list. You should make sure you pay it because it's a need for their department. Everything that they ask for is for their department, for the residents. So if it's
I don't understand where Tiffany gets this. I was just reviewing, editing some of my video yesterday, and she said, if it's in the budget, then we should be able to spend it. Yeah, just because you put a number down, like say for instance, I have a budget right here, and I said I want to spend $1,500 on cotton candy. Does that mean I should spend it on cotton candy? No, because my husband is going to be like, what the hell we spending $1,500 on cotton candy? I'm just using the household as an example because, if you have two people in the household, you look at each other and say, no, I think we should move this money to this one or this money to that one. Okay. But then communicate with each other and say, oh, $1,500 I think that's way too much for this particular thing. Tiffany is saying, oh, I write a number down and I should be able to spend it. That's like so insane to me. I mean, so insane. Even with this, they're spending it. They put a number there, so that means they need it. No, Tiffany, you sound almost like a child. Like you never had to pay bills before. That's what it sounds like. Like she's never even, and she bragged that she has a business degree and she's an entrepreneur, a business owner. Business owners don't think that way. We don't think that. I'm a business owner. I teach other business owners and about financial management, and we do not think that way. Just because we put a number on the paper, that doesn't mean it's approved to spend. That's what we would like, but is that logical? No, it's crazy to me. Anyway, I just had to stop it right there and tell you guys that.
something that you think is wrong or something that you see that you don't like, you should point that out and give it to staff, which is Keith Price. You let him know what that is, and then we will give you the answer to whoever spent it, whatever it is. But just to come here and say, I'm not paying nothing, I'm not paying no bills, but you know what, I'm gonna pay these 20 people, and that's all I'm gonna pay. That's not right. When there's other bills that's really, really important, which Robert has a list of, and you guys didn't even add it on the list. Come on, man, that's not right. And that's why I'm asking you guys, are you gonna motion to pay all the bills?
No, but I will say something. You keep saying this thing about me being a part of administration, and I didn't say anything. You know, For a long time, I sat on this board. Yes, I'm new to being a trustee. I'm very new to this process. I'm learning. I'm not afraid to say that. But what I will say is that the reason I didn't ask questions, or I didn't, put into question things that was in, because I trusted the administration. I trusted the process. And the moment I didn't trust the process, I started asking questions. So that's why I sat here and I didn't say anything, because I trusted you. And that's what it is. So now there are things I don't trust the process, so I have to ask questions. Before, it worked. In that season where I didn't ask anything, that worked. But moving forward, it's not working, so I have to ask questions, and I have to make sure I understand what I'm saying yes to, and that's my job. Maybe I didn't do a great job before, but now moving forward, I am going to do a better job at asking questions and make sure I know what's going on in Dorian Township, because it's my duty and my job to do that. That's why I didn't say anything, and that's why moving forward, I will. Okay.
That's another bald face that hot, because you was part of the process. You don't want to put invoices in, and you did the process. So it's the same process that you was doing. So to get up there and lie and say, I didn't trust the process when you was the process, stop. That's what I'm saying about your lies, Carmen, stop. And then as it relates to I'm asked questions, you ask questions then. And you put things before the board, and the board voted for it, right? The same thing you're doing now, but the difference is you're holding up progress because you don't want to pay some because everybody needs. And the difference, just for the record, residents, is because Keith Freeman out here is why you're doing what you're doing. Because before, it was everything golden, let me say, oh, Keith said it, okay, let me put that down. So now you're asking questions because ain't nothing wrong, and there's nothing wrong. You got every single thing that's down here. Everything that's down here is related to the people. Every single thing. So instead of going back and forth, that's why I told you, we can always have a conversation. My line is out so for any board member that's sitting here, but I do want to pay the bills that is needed for us to operate.
Okay, and I would like to say something. And this
So you want to go back and forth? We gonna go back and forth for the people all day.
This is for
That's what it is.
It's not about what it is, but you say things, and one thing I've always been is kind to you, and I'm going to always continue to be kind to you because that's who God is, right? But I will say this, yes, I did work for administration. I was her assistant for over 2.5 years. And I sit here and I believe the process. Let me tell you exactly why I don't trust the process since we talking about it. I didn't ask questions. I worked as your assistant. I saw a lot, heard a lot. But the thing and the question is, you walk around as if you don't do anything, you don't make any decisions. And the first time I ever really questioned supporting this is when you went on this national platform and you said you didn't know anything about a foundation. But you forget that I was in certain rooms when certain things happened. And, again, I always try to be tactful because, again, I don't like going back and forth. I don't like to be in the center of attention. I don't like all this. But I don't like to feel like I'm being lied on. I don't like to feel like, we're not telling the truth. And the reason I don't support you is because you were not honest about that foundation. I was in the room when it started, and then you came to my house after that unannounced and tried to get me to say somebody else started that foundation that did it. And so again, and I'm saying this for the record. Again, so you're trying to say anything about me not supporting you for somebody else. I don't support you because of you. I don't support you because, again, you act like you don't make decisions. You make every decision, and maybe you didn't execute it, but I was there. I was your assistant for 2 years. So you sit up here week after week, you sit up here month after month and pretending and I've been kind to you, I've been patient, and I'm going to continue to be that way, but for you to get up here and say, I'm not supporting you any other reason because of you, it's wrong, because I don't support you because of you, not for Keith Freeman, not for anybody else. I don't support you because you're not honest, you're not an honest person.
And you're not an honest person. Say these things, I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna yes. At the end of the day, I'm not gonna take the bait because I can say so much stuff and just tarnish you right now. But I'm not gonna treat you that way. At the end of the day, the truth will be the truth and the truth will come out. So you get here and say that people said this, did this, you know what it is. You know exactly who did what. And I hate that people hold your lips like this and you get up here.
Tiffany, nobody holding her lips, blah, blah, blah. Okay, Carmen Carlise called you out because you fake. You're fake. You're fake. You're fake. Okay? And you're a liar. You're a snake. You're conniving. And you're evil. you threw all them that's on your administration under the bus, or that was on that Tiffany Cares Foundation under the bus. That's what you did. So and she has every right to not support you anymore. I was just trying to find the part where let me just share this tab with you. Roland Martin started questioning Tiffany Henyard about the CARES Foundation. And she responded back, I'm the face of the foundation. I don't know. They're just using my name. And Roland Martin didn't even push back on this. This is it.
With you.
Correct. That's true.
Okay.
That's
So you're
true.
not aware of any of the work that they've done, money.
That was the whole purpose of the walk, to basically bring. And I made a statement for the news. There is no subpoenas in my office, and no one that we know of regarding the investigation. So
Right now, what I'm saying is they passed a resolution
Right.
calling for a federal investigation. And so what I'm asking is, are you saying, hey, if I did nothing wrong, fine, y'all come and investigate, or do you believe the action of these trustees was improper?
I think they should investigate everybody. And that way you see who is clear, period. And I will talk to this more at my board meeting on Monday. Because if you're gonna do one, do everybody.
Well, first of all, if the federal authorities, I know how federal investigations work. Once they come in, they don't look at one person. They actually examine everything. We're chatting with the mayor of Dalton, Illinois, Tiffany Henyard. She joins me here in studio. So I'd asked you before we went to the break. I talked about again this charity and the Illinois Attorney General's office. This is from CBS affiliate there, says that the accusation comes at the same time the Illinois Attorney General's office told Henyard's charity multiple times in recent months to stop improperly soliciting donations because it had not registered with the state as required by law. And you say that's not your charity.
Correct.
Okay. So were you ever... So show the video here, 'cause I'm trying to understand this here. So this is a video of you marching with the charity. So what is this?
So what they're not telling you is we literally walked to Springfield to create a bill to help anybody that suffered from cancer, whether it's the village of Dalton, Thornton Township, and then I increased it to the state of Illinois. And that bill will help people by giving them $10,000. And that's a bill that we actually are initiating, and we're still working on it. When I went through the Republican states, the Republican areas, we didn't have any issue. Everybody was on board because everybody is suffering from cancer or know someone that passed or is actually going through it. So that was the whole purpose of the walk, to basically bring awareness and bring people together. That's what the whole purpose of it is.
But if you had, so there were folks with signs saying Tiffany Henyard Cares Foundation. Who was that?
What do you mean? It's everybody. Everybody was there.
No. What I'm saying is,
Kamala Harris supported decriminalizing.
You can't be this stupid. What do you mean? It was everybody. No. Where did this name come from? This is your name, Tiffany Henyard Cares. Why would they use your name, Tiffany? Why can't they just use Michael Jackson Cares? I mean, of course, somebody will say cease and desist. So you're just going to allow a charity use your name and you don't know anything about them? This is why this is so stupid. This is why this is she's not that bright in lying. She's not that bright in lying. I think she should have came up with a better answer than that, but she continues to lie.
Is the Tiffany Henyard Cares Foundation? You said it's not affiliated with you at all.
Correct.
Well, what is it?
So someone made up a foundation. They named it after me, and they like my work that I do in the community, and it's called Tiffany Henyard Cares. So we all went.
But they weren't registered. Have you contacted them and told them you can't use my name improperly?
Well, my lawyer's handling a lot of that stuff, so all I can tell you is that I'm not the one on anything. That's the only thing I can tell you right now. So I'm just trying to answer to the.
So you're saying there's a foundation that's not registered, but it has nothing to do with you?
Correct. That's true.
Okay.
That's
so you're
true.
not aware of any of the work that they've done, money that they've raised, anything along those lines?
Correct.
Okay. Again, going back to your trustees, they have talked about travel. So let's speak about that. When you're traveling, are you traveling on behalf of the city of Dalton or Thornton Township?
It depends. It depends on what it is. So if I'm going to Recon, Recon is a big platform for economic development where people go from all over. It's the largest in the nation, and everybody go to basically promote their plot of land. So you want to bring a Starbucks to town. You want to bring, for instance, Maswell's a Trump Center.
Mm-hmm.
So things like that.
Okay, I don't want to go through all that. I was just pulling up Tiffany Henyard's Cares Foundation. So this is why Carmen Carlise said, hey, you went through this national campaign and lied about saying that you didn't know where the name came from. You had nothing to do with the foundation, even though I know I was in the room when you created this foundation. This foundation was incorporated in September the 27th, 2022. Not for profit. It's active. Victor Esquat, whoever this is, I'm assuming this person is a lawyer. They don't have no old, what is it called? Anyway, but this is when they filed it. In September 27, 2022, Keith Freeman is on the as the registered agent. Carmen Carlise, William Moore, Shell Schranz, I don't know who that is, Pamela Earhart, and Kamal Woods. Your boyfriend, Carmen, your girl, William Moore, which is your boy. Remember, don't pray for me no more. That's who started the foundation. These are all the people that started the foundation, okay? And, these are all the directors. Unfortunately, Tiffany, of course, lied about that. In 2023, Keith Freeman filed something else in regards to that. And then they took, I guess, William Moore is the director. President is William Moore. And director is Kamal Woods. Okay? Someone must have told Tiffany, hey, if you really want to avoid taxation, you need to probably funnel some money in your nonprofit. That's probably why she created a nonprofit. You really want the big bucks, create a nonprofit. Anyway, so Carmen Carlise is basically saying you're lying on me, and you lying on everybody else, and then you acting like, like you're so innocent, and you're doing all this devious stuff. I wonder what they're gonna file, because they're filing. They have to file a report soon. Who's over the director? Who's the registered agent now? Victor Esquat, I guess, is the registered agent, but Who's doing this? Does she have the same leadership like William Moore? Is he still the director, Kamal Woods and all that? I know Carmen Carlise she's out the picture, but they got all these other people on there. Anywho, you guys let me know what you think. LJ said the Thornton Township Board, which controlled by Henyard, transferred $10,000 to the foundation days after it was created. Yes, I remember that. I remember talking about that. And Stephanie Weidman called that out. She actually called that out. Kamala is saying she is never part of anything, but she forgets on videos she has states she is part of day-to-day, allegedly. She needs to be in federal prison for RICO charges, yeah. And she never admits her involvement. LJ said it was $10,248 charged to the township credit cards for the hotels along the route that Tiffany Henyard walked from Dalton to Springfield in 2022. Yeah. So essentially, they not only donated $10,000, they donated $20,000. Well, the people that pays taxes in Thornton Township, they donated the $20,000 to the CARES Foundation. And Tiffany has nothing to do with it. She said, no, they're just using my name. Which sounds retarded. She's her own self-incrimination. Gotta love it. Yeah, she incriminates her own self. Because all these videos are on YouTube. You could go back and see where she say, oh, I created a foundation, blah, blah, blah. And now when your foundation is in trouble and it's being looked into by the Attorney General, you're saying, oh, they're just using my name. I don't know nothing about the foundation. And then you wonder why Carmen Carlise is trying to put some distance in between you. Because you're lying. And her name was on that paperwork. So she probably like, dang, you just bold-faced lie. And my name is on the paperwork as a board member. You trying to get me in trouble. Anyway. You guys let me know what you think. Okay? Let me know what you think. That's it for today. I really appreciate every single last one of you. I'm sending all my good to you. I will talk to you tomorrow.